Cinderella, Jack and the Beanstalk, The Tortoise and the Hare. These are all examples of traditional literature. These are imagined stories that are passed down over many years. Cinderella, The Frog Prince, The Little Mermaid. These are examples of fairy tales. A fairy tale is a type of traditional literature. In these stories, there is often magic, a prince or a princess, and good always wins over evil. Many Disney movies are based on fairy tales. Another type of traditional literature is folk tales. Jack and the Beanstalk, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Little Red Riding Hood. These are examples of folk tales, which are stories passed down over time, and the evil character always loses. Fables are similar to folk and fairy tales, but they always include an important lesson, which is called the moral. Fables also include talking animals and are usually written about one important event: the tortoise and the hare, the boy who cried wolf, and the crow and the pitcher are all great examples of fables. What else do traditional literature have in common? Well, these stories usually begin in a very specific way, with recurring phrases like once upon a time, a long, long time ago, in a faraway land. Everyone knows happily ever after, and so the story goes. But that's another story. And many other phrases are used over and over. They help the reader prepare their brain for the stories being told. When we read or listen to traditional literature, stories, we can connect them to our everyday lives. Students, I would like you to take a second to think about ways that you can relate to a character within a traditional literature piece. By chance, you thought of friends or some anxieties you may have had. Now, no, we aren't kings or queens, and we don't know any talking animals, but the lessons and experiences the characters encounter aren't so different from our daily lives. If you ever felt down in the dumps about your size, hair, or clothes, then you can relate to the ugly duckling, who we all know turned into a beautiful creature. Maybe you feel like your brothers and sisters are always picking on you. Put yourself in poor Cinderella's shoes. If you've ever worked together with a sibling to solve a problem, you aren't much different from Hansel or Gretel. Remember, fairy tales, folk tales, and fables are all imagined stories passed down over time. They were once told so long ago that even our grandparents weren't born yet. Some stories contain royalty, magic, talking animals, and moral or lessons good overcomes evil, and the reader can connect the events in the story with his or her daily life. What's your favorite traditional literature story? Now, students, we're going to create our folk tales anchor chart. Ensure that you have your interactive notebooks handy. Now, let's look at one of the elements. A folk tale is a fiction story that comes from a specific country or culture. Now, also, a folk tale reflects the customs or beliefs of the people. Here's another important element. Remember, the story has often been told and retold orally before being written down, as well as the characters may be people or animals. Sometimes animals may have human characteristics. Folk tales may contain a lesson explaining something about the nature of the world. Folk tales may contain a lesson explaining something about the nature of the world. Now here's the full view of our folk tale anchor chart that was just created. Now I want you to take time and copy it down in your interactive notebooks. Can you say my name? Belief in the magical power of names is ancient and widespread. According to folk belief, to know a person's name, especially a person's secret name, confers control over him or her. In traditional societies, adults warn children never to tell their names to a stranger, recounting the sad fates of those who did. Tales about guessing names also satisfy keen interest in keeping, telling, and guessing secrets. The secret names in the following tales are made up nonsense words, and so they are virtually impossible to guess. But everyone knows that secrets are difficult, if not impossible, to keep. Now, students, before we prepare to read our folk tales, let's preview some vocabulary words. All right, here's a quick preview of our words: deceived, bargain, reputation, astonishment, composure. Now, by chance, do you know what the word deceived means? What does it mean to deceive someone? Or deceived? It's a verb, hint. Well, if you said it means to cause a person to believe something that is not true, you are correct. Well, how about our word bargain? Another hint, it's a noun. Well, bargain is an agreement between people about what each will give or receive. What are they saying about you? All right, how about our next word? Reputation. Another noun. Well, what does reputation mean? Well, reputation is the opinion that many people have of someone. You know, people with good and bad reputations. I know I do. All right, how about astonishment? And Miss Delco provided a very astonishing picture as a context clue. If you said astonishment means a feeling of great surprise, you are correct. Now, we have our Zen Buddhist yoga pose, and that's our word composure. What does composure mean, students? Well, composure, the calm control of oneself. I feel like a prince, I'm feeling myself. I'm loaded with bills, cause I wasn't blessed with no Uncle Phil. Don't know how it feels. I wanted to flex, they told me to chill. I'm making a flip. My life is a flick, now load up the film. You feeling like me? I feel like a prince that turned to a king.